Hello, welcome to Ed Media. Out of all the seasons of Inanimate Insanity, the one with the best cast was definitely Season 4. Like duh, but I always thought that the cast for Invitational was slept on. Like obviously everyone enjoys the Season 1 veterans. And everyone enjoyed the cast of Season 2, and Season 4's cast has been extremely well received, but no one talks about Invitational's cast. So today, I want to take a look at how interesting it is. The blend of returning contestants and newbies. So let's get started. One half of the cast was the returning contestants, where Season 2 and 4 focused on the returning contestants being the ones that need more screen time / development. Invitational focused on the fan favorites returning. Kinda like an all-stars season. Except, the viewers were able to determine the cast as there was a vote for favorite contestants and the highest ones excluding the ones stuck in Season 2 were let in. For Season 1 veterans, the contestants returning were Balloon, Nickel, OJ, and Paintbrush. For the Season 2 contestants returning, we got Fan, Test Tube, Box, and Yin Yang. The returning contestants were really superb. We got contestants who really needed more screen time like Balloon and Nickel, who last season were unable to resolve their conflict, and OJ. Look, I know OJ already won a season, but I always missed the guy and wanted to see him compete again, so I was overjoyed to see him return. Yin Yang returning was also great because he was eliminated early. Honestly, it was a miracle he returned, but I guess he was loved after all. I can't believe he got the second most votes despite only appearing in like 6 episodes. Good thing he came back and stayed for a long time, so that way it was justified why he was so well liked, and plus he got development and stuff. Box was only in Season 2 for 4 episodes, so they decided to use Box's inanimate self for good use and provided a conflict that the other characters faced with Box's presence. And the rest of the returning contestant, instead of needing more screen time, they already had a great amount, but it wouldn't hurt to receive more. It was awesome getting another season of Paintbrush. Yeah, they got far last season, but they are one of the most extremely entertaining characters, so it was nice that they got really fat this season too. Fan and Test Tube had huge roles last season, so it was great seeing them have a second shot. Fan was only there for a tiny bit, but Test Tube got pretty far and I enjoyed seeing them have their storyline about Bot. So the returning contestants I give an 8 out of 10 since it was nice seeing some of these contestants return once again. Some of them really benefited receiving another season. Every season of Inanimate Insanity must have newbies of some sort. While this prevented Season 3 from becoming an all-stars season, the newbies were actually able to become extremely memorable. So let's take a brief look over the newcomers. Our first batch is the newbies who weren't able to show much, but they were still cool. Life Ring is a lifesaver leader and huge guy. Overall he was really cool as he always had ideas, but since me phone made him, he had to have some sort of gimmick, and his was that his ideas weren't really that good. Tea Kettle was a contestant who acted as a motherly figure, but she also acted as a leader once Life Ring was out. She provided conflict for the team as well. Blueberry was someone who was down and depressed but eventually became someone who was apathetic and a menace. He became overpowered. Next are the newbies who had enough time to give us development. Clover was a happy-go-lucky contestant who had good luck, but she eventually thought it was a curse as everyone kinda like subjected to her will when it was needed. Dew was just like a silly maybe philosopher since he always had analogies that were made to be advice. Now the newbies who really stood out and were able to develop to the fullest. The Floor was a cool guy who was laid back and always hungry, who eventually became me phone's assistant. Candle was a like Fortune type of person who focused on things like aura and stuff like that. She eventually became more competitive and acted as someone who can be seen as smart. She was really cool. Bot originally started off as Bo, but it turned out that they were a robot, which caused an existential crisis. This led to them going on a journey of self-discovery and making their own identity. They eventually became a creative mind that had a good sense of right and wrong. Silver Spoon was a sassy and sarcastic villain. He was selfish and was willing to do anything to get the win and acted as the villain or mean character of the season. Though it turns out he hated himself. And finally Cabby, a logistic person who was organized and kept lots of knowledge, but it turns out that she kept the field because of her horrible memory, and it helps her despite it causing a huge misunderstanding and made it seem like she was a villain. Pretty strong cast of newbies. Had cool and interesting takes on new characters, so I'll give this cast of newbies a 10 out of 10. So how did these two halves become such an interesting cast? Well, their dynamics were extremely well. I feel that the dynamics these characters had really carried the vast. The veterans were able to resolve their past conflicts while some other returning players got new takes on their characters or simply, development they were never able to get last season. While the newbies were able to shine as they had a great mind in the game. They took the game seriously and worked with each other to have entertaining ways to compete challenges. Dynamics that were a standout were Nickel and Balloon, Cabby and Bot, OJ and Paintbrush, Silver Spoon and Candle, and the finalists themselves. The cast had such great chemistry. And that's a look at the interesting cast of Inanimate Insanity Invitational. The returning fan favorites along with the entertaining newbies were able to cause such great friction and form a memorable cast. It may have not been the best, it may have not been the most iconic, but it was honestly the most unique to me. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe por favor. Goodbye.